What is up, players? It's Warboss Tay back up in this mug. Today we're taking a look at this Khorne Slaughterpriest for the Khorne Bloodbound faction for the Age of Sigmar game by Games Workshop. I really like this model. It's a single pose, meaning you have no real options for its customization. Some of these single pose models, they come with different weapons, or you could swap out the hands to go from a weapon to maybe a hand that's pointing at whatever he's looking at. Maybe you might have an option for a different head. Not so with this one. This one, they were really going for utility over flexibility and options. So you only get a little sprue, maybe like half a sprue with all of the pieces on it. And I don't really mind. I had a really good time putting him together. I think if you just follow the instructions, follow the numbers. One of the problems I had earlier, if you remember many moons ago, when I built Lewis the Necromancer, I did not follow the numbers on the instructions correctly, and he ended up not having his weird webbed collar, his big spooky collar. And after I built him, I was looking at this last piece on the frame and I couldn't understand what it was for, and I looked again at the instructions after the glue had dried, and I realized, oh, it was supposed to go on behind his head, and his hair was already hanging over it. I glued it on, I think, as its own piece, and I had to do a lot of finicky maneuvering to put that collar in. So always good to follow the instructions. Games Workshop's instructions now are really simple to follow and really easy to see where the parts go and the order in which they go. So we can take a look at this model now, and I can say definitely there was no question as to the order of pieces and how to most efficiently build the models too, because you got to remember you're waiting for your glue to dry. So if they wanted you to glue the pieces on the most efficient way, they would do the bigger pieces, the heaviest pieces first, get those all together, and then you're only having to worry about the smaller pieces like the head, the mask, or the weapon after the main part of the miniature was built. Okay, so in the game, it looks like his weapons are that choppy sword he's got and that ball and chain. The old ball and chain. And for the actual painting, the good thing about when you build up a model, you get to look at it, you see all of the color schemes that have already come out for it. I'm thinking, how am I going to be painting the skin as opposed to like the helmet, the armor, the metal? And just having a lot of really good ideas flowing to eventually build up some kind of Khorne Bloodbound force. If you are new to the game, or you're new to the faction, this is a model that you're going to probably want to test on, because they gave these guys basically for free, I think, with some old white dwarves. This was like their test model that they wanted to kind of get new people into the miniatures hobby with. And I do remember him and one of those Sigmar boys were being given away in a Get Started issue of Age of Sigmar White Dwarf put out a few years back. And I think it's great, because even though they're changing the old aesthetic of the old Chaos Warriors and the Chaos Knights, the Mortals look like this now. They're big, they're huge, they're covered in muscles, and they've all got spiky bits and armor that look like they were basically beaten onto them. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to paint. For those of you who've already painted Age of Sigmar, Khorne Bloodbound specifically, in particular, I think it would be great to hear how you built up your guys, or how you painted your miniatures and what colors you used, because I think I'm going to have to probably go with the pale skin, maybe add some bruises for just something interesting to look at, and then do like a red metallic. I might want to do like a try to add some metallic silver metallic medium to my red paint, so that it gives it a little bit of a shiny, glossy red metal, rather than just painting the armor red and having it be matte. So I like looking at miniatures and figuring out how to paint them. And I think if you're going to be getting your start collecting box set of Khorne Bloodbound miniatures, this is probably the model you're going to be painting up first. It's the character model, and it really is the easiest to build compared to the Blood Warriors, which we're going to do another video on, and the Mighty Skull Crushers, which I'm already getting into the editing phase. So that's gonna be a wrap for this one. There's not really much to say about him. He was a lot of fun to build, and as the first model I built out of the box, it is great to have like a little placeholder guy so that I can build up my Khorne Bloodbound around him. Whenever you start a new army, that's something I like to do. Find a model that you really like, build him up, have him sit in the corner of your table, and then just build your forces around him. So that's gonna be a wrap for this one, you guys. I'm just looking at this model now because I built him up on my own, and I'm really just thinking about how I'm gonna paint him, the different purples I'm gonna use for all the scarring in the back here, and the different colors I'm gonna use for the different textures. I really like how, I don't think I mentioned this, but the horns on his helmet have little lines, little indentations on them so that it'll help you paint the shadows there. And there's just a lot of thought that went into this model. And even though it's one of the ones that Games Workshop has been kind of given away, I am really still like the way he looks. When you think about the composition of the model, even though you can only pose him like this, there's no way to pose his sword so he's got it resting point down on the earth, or there's no way to have him pointing his sword forward. For some reason, he's just looking at this ball and chain like he's looking so thoughtfully at this ball and chain, and he's got the classic Games Workshop foot on a thing aesthetic going. But then I love how he's looking at his ball of chain like it's Hamlet looking at Yorick's skull, and he's just contemplating this ball and chain like, oh, I am married. I'm married to this slaughter. I've committed myself eternally to slaughter. Oh, alas. Alas, poor ball and chain. What does it all mean? He's contemplating the great mysteries of the universe, and I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a crazy year, you guys. You know, it's 2020, so what can I say? Before I lose my mind, I'm gonna call it. And I just want to say thank you guys for checking up on me. For those of you who've been writing comments, or especially sending messages on Patreon, my Players Club, I truly appreciate it. You are always in my hearts. I always want to do the most. That's the tricky thing about being an artist on YouTube. You always want to be better and do bigger and go farther and create more that'll make your viewers happy. And one of the pitfalls with that is that sometimes your dreams far extend your reach. So I'm going to stay positive. I know I've got a limited time to hobby. I know I've got a limited time to film. And I'm going to try to do what I can. I'm going to just keep carving out time to make these videos and to try to provide the entertainment and insight into the hobby that I've always done. It's just going to be different moving forward. So again, I appreciate all of you who've stuck with me through the years, and we will continue moving forward. Maybe I will paint up this little Start Collecting box set and see where that takes us, if I want to actually get into Age of Sigmar, which I probably won't, or if I just want to paint some interesting looking models. That is always fun. Thanks for watching, you guys. I hope you're doing well. We'll see you in the next video. Latest, players!